So guys, it's David here. Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be covering three mistakes made by beginner appointment setters that is preventing them from making money. Okay, so these are mistakes. These are the mistakes that are preventing new appointment setters or even appointment setters that have been in the market for quite some time now from having those 3 to 5K months, maximizing their commissions and making the most out of their placement. Okay. A lot of these are mistakes that from speaking to people, I've seen that they've been making. A lot of these mistakes are mistakes and things that I was doing in the beginning stages of my appointment setting journey, and that I've been able to learn from and pivot from and just craft and practice and perfect my outreach. So the first little point we have here is being an inbound princess. A lot of beginner appointment setters are actually under the impression that inbound appointment setting is way more easier and way more efficient than outbound setting. So basically, they're under the impression that inbound appointment setting is easier than it actually is, okay? But this really isn't the case. Inbound setting, yes, is very convenient because you don't have to source the leads yourself. You don't have to do the outreach. You don't have to send messages. You don't have to craft your outbound message. However, you still have to qualify the leads. You still have to warm the leads up, okay? You still have to handle objections. The process is still the exact same. The only difference is that you're not finding the leads. And what you find is that because you're not the person sourcing the leads, you're not the person having the call, you're not the person providing the leads for you to book the calls. There's a certain cap of the amount of leads and the amount of calls that you can book. There's a cap to the amount of conversations that you're able to have as an appointment setter due to there simply being a maximum of 20, 30 inbound leads a day, okay? 20 to 30 inbound leads, that's still great. And that's still, that's still awesome. But you've got to counter in the fact that you've got to take into account that a lot of these leads, they're just going to be talking, they're going to be chatting, they're not really going to be interested. Some of them aren't going to be qualified, and some of them are just going to stop replying. Some of them are purely there to waste your time, to speak to you in the DM, to try and get free value, whatever, but not actually don't actually have the intention of booking the call and seeing what solutions you can provide for them. Okay. Like I mentioned yesterday in the previous video, outbound, I didn't mention this part, but outbound appointment setting is an infinite money glitch if done correctly. Okay. Literally, like pretend you're playing GTA. Outbound appointment setting is genuinely a money glitch if you're able to perfect it and craft your outbound outreach message correctly. With the example that I used yesterday, 75 messages a day. Okay, that's what 10 messages, 10, 11 messages an hour for 7 hours. So 1 hour, you send 11 messages, and then you go on about your day. Any people that reply, you answer the messages, you take them through the process, you see if you can actually help them, and you book them on a call. Okay, so that's 75 messages a day. That's 525 messages a week. Meaning that's 500 potential leads that you're reaching out to compared to what 20 times 7. The difference in the amount of leads, you see what I'm talking about here? As in, if you're sending 75 messages a day rather than relying on inbound leads to come in, inbound people to book calls, if you're putting matters into your own hands, if your video stop recording, but you also have a specific amount of leads that come to you, and you have a specific, as an inbound setter, okay, the amount of people that come to you that respond to either CTAs or that follow your account or whatever your inbound protocol is with your client, the amount of messages and the amount of leads that you're speaking to on a daily, that's capped, right? You're only mostly having about 20 to 30 conversations a day, meaning that that's 20 to 30 people, and a lot of these people aren't going to be ideal leads. A lot of these people aren't going to be qualified. They're not going to have the sort of funds. Sometimes they're not even going to have the problems that you and your client provide. meaning that it's not going to make sense to book for call, as it's not going to result in a sale. So with inbound setting, the amount of leads, the amount of money you can make is actually capped in some sort of way. Because if you're only speaking to 20, 30 people a day, that is very different to speaking to 75 people a day, okay? 525 a week, that's 75 messages a day, 7 days a week, 75 times 7, 525 messages a week, that's 525 potential leads. Like I mentioned here, so like I mentioned, outbound setting, outbound appointment setting is an infinite money glitch if done correctly. If it's literally like you're playing GTA, the amount of people you're able to reach out to, the amount of conversations you're able to have, the amount of your replies you're able to get is uncapped compared to if you're just relying on inbound appointment setting, you're relying on the leads to come to you, you're not putting matters into your own hands and going and finding the leads, giving yourself the best chance, the best possibility to start booking calls, to start progressing conversations, to start having leads. So outbound setting is key if you're, especially if you're just getting started, because it gives you that practice, which I'm going to go on later into the video. Like I said, dealing with 20 to 30 a day, still a good amount. However, if you're able to craft a great outbound message and then ensure that you're engaging the potential leads properly in the outbound process, in the warming up stage, there's way more chances to make way more money. Okay, the amount of conversations that you're going to have, inevitably you're bound to start booking calls. These calls are bound to start closing. Okay, with outbound, there's no limit. There's literally no limit to the amount of deals you can book. However, with inbound, there's definitely a certain amount. Even if you have 20 to 30 leads, there's a limit. Okay, only 20 to 30 calls can book. However, if you have 75 leads, think about the amount of calls that can book. So that's the first point done, being an inbound princess. Second point, slacking on outreach. When you start as an appointment setter in the beginner stages, the chances are you're going to be pretty bad, okay? You're not going to know really what to do. No matter how much research you do, what course you buy, what mentor you have, you're not going to instantly come in unless you've got previous sales experience. But even so, inbound setting compared to just generic sales in a 9 to 5 corporate world is so different. You're not going to come and you're not going to start as an appointment setter and start booking 10, 20 calls a day. It's just not going to happen, okay? You're not going to know what to do in some situations, what to say, how to progress conversations. And the only way that you're going to get past this obstacle, you're going to get past that language barrier, that skill barrier, is literally by having more conversations. Failure is our best teacher, right? So, in the beginning of your appointment setting, you need to actively be seeking as many conversations as you can and ensure that you're getting the most practice that you can and maximize the amount of learning that you're doing to ensure that you know what to say in these conversations down the line. Your goal as an appointment setter when you start, it just needs to be keep my outreach high, keep my volume high, keep the amount of conversations I'm having high, so I'm able to learn, so I know how to navigate these conversations, so I know how to navigate and I know what I'm doing wrong, if that makes sense. I know what to say, I know what turns these leads on, I know what turns these leads off. Does that make sense? Okay. You need to make sure that you're getting as much exposure and as much exposure as you can to these leads, to speaking to these leads, to the sales process in the beginning, to make sure that further down the line, when you're actually in a position to start closing more deals, start booking more calls, you realize that in the beginning, this has only been possible due to the learning I done, the trials and tribulations I went through, the amount of leads I accidentally messed up, the amount of calls that I should have booked, but I said something wrong and I didn't book them. Okay. Everything in this life is about steps and stages. You need to learn what to do and you need to learn how to do it correctly. It's the second point. Third and final point that I see and that I myself, sometimes even now, make as an appointment setter is messaging too long, okay? Waffling in the conversations. In order to be an effective setter, your messaging process needs to be, and the sort of script that you're using needs to be extremely efficient. Asking too many filler questions, having pointless conversations that aren't advancing the sale, and making your messaging sound robotic and sound like a generic bot, like a literal NPC, it's not going to maximize the chances you have to book as many calls as you need to book to start making money as an appointment setter. Okay. To see success as an appointment setter, you need to try and invoke as much emotion as you can out of the prospects that you're talking to in the least amount of time. And then book the call. Okay. So you need to make sure that in these small conversations that you're having with these leads and with these prospects, that you're minimizing the amount of text that is going in between the two, but you're evoking the most emotions. Okay. You're figuring out the pain points. You're going deep into these pain points and you're making them want to book that call with you and you're making them want to buy your solution and you're making them want to actually work with you as an appointment setter. The way to pivot this and to make sure that you're not waffling and that your messaging isn't taking too long is by simply following a similar script to this, okay? And obviously it's going to depend based on what your offer is, and you can sort of pivot it compared to what your solution is, what you're providing, what you're selling. But asking situation questions in the beginning, like I said, which will vary depending on the offer you're setting for, like how long have they had their business for? What is their desired amount of revenue? What issues have they encountered that has stopped them from reaching their desired amount of revenue that we just told you? Where would they like to be in 6 months? Are they happy with the amount of money they're making? Questions like these are going to help you understand their situation, understand if you can actually help them, and also help you figure out what sort of approach and what sort of approach you need to take in the warming up process and how you need to navigate and go about speaking to this lead. Okay, it's going to help you figure out if this is a pointless convo, and it's going to help you figure out if this convo actually has potential and if this conversation is actually going to result in something. Basic sales is about packaging your solutions as the vehicle to save them from their desired to save them from their pain points and take them to their desired situation. Okay, so by asking these situation questions, you're figuring out pain points, and then you can ask them, okay, it seems like this is a pain point for you, and they're going to tell you whether or not that is a pain point, and you're going to help figure out. You're going to be able to realize if you can actually help them, if this is an ideal prospect, and if it is, boom, you've got the pain point. Now it's your turn to ask questions and to package your statements to make sure that your solution is their desired situation, which is just automatically going to make them want to book that call with you. Kind of like a genie in a sense, you know what I mean? You're taking them from their pain, you're taking them from their issues, what they're struggling with, and your solution, you're providing them the way out. So it's super important to not skip this stage in the beginning, but make sure that you're doing it efficiently. Make sure you're not asking too many filler questions. You're asking the correct questions that you need to ask to ensure that you're booking this call. So now you figured out their situation, you figured out their pain points, you figured out what they're struggling with. It's time for you to dive deep into these pain points and emphasize on them, okay? This is what's really going to take your conversations and take your booked calls to the next level. Once you figure out these pain points that your potential prospects are having, what they're struggling with, if you're able to really dive deep into these pain points, help them realize like, wow, this really is a problem. I really need to solve this. You're literally going to have prospects throwing money at you, bro. Questions like, has this affected you, bro? Has this limited the amount of success you've been able to see as in your business or whatever you're selling? you could be providing services to appointment setters? Has this limited the amount of success you've been able to see as a setter? Is this something you'd like to take action to solve? What bothers you the most about this? Questions like these, diving deep into these pain points, helping these people make the assumptions, but make the realizations in their head, like, oh, what I'm doing is wrong. Okay, I really need help. I'm stuck. Helping them realize that a change needs to be made. Otherwise, they're not going to get where they want to go. They're not going to get where they need to be. It's going to really help you as an appointment setter to progress these conversations and to book these calls in. Progress these conversations that you're having as quickly as you can, replying as fast as you can to ensure that the prospect is still interested. Super important. Quick replies, quick taking action as quick as you can. Okay, so quick replies to their messages, making sure you're asking these questions, you're figuring out their pain points, and after you figured out that you can help them, after you figured out that you're the guy to take them to the next level, it's time for you to book in that call and make that sell. Okay, super quick video, super simple. I hope this helps you guys. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.